There are two parts to creating success with the behavior-specific modification strategy. The first part is the pre-meeting, and the second part is the follow-up. So let's get started with the first part, which is the pre-meeting. The pre-meeting helps the child understand the behavior, as well as how it's affecting them and others. During the pre-meeting, you discuss the replacement behaviors, you discuss the modification strategy itself, and you also discuss the rewards and the consequences the child will have for either holding on to or releasing the behavior. The pre-meeting has 5 steps. Here they are. Step 1, discuss the habit in detail. Step 2, discuss the effects of the habit. Step 3, discuss the replacement behavior and its benefits. Step 4, discuss exactly how the behavior-specific modification strategy will work. Step 5, discuss the rewards and consequences for possible outcomes. Let's start with Step 1. Step 1 involves discussing the habit with your child in detail. It also involves discussing what you have observed. When you describe the habit, use observational, non-judgmental language. In Mackenzie's example, it would sound like this. You have been asking a lot of questions lately. Sometimes you ask 5 or 10 questions in just a few minutes, and sometimes the answers to your questions are really obvious. Like last night when I was spooning the spaghetti onto our plates, you asked me what was for dinner. I love that you're so curious and that you ask questions. I never want you to stop being curious. But when you ask too many questions, it's a little exhausting for the rest of us. Another example is when we're getting ready to leave. I have 4 of you to get ready and many things that I'm thinking about as we're trying to get out the door with everything that we need. Sometimes you start asking me a lot of questions about where we're going, who we're going with, what we're going to be doing, who's going, what car we're going in, and things like that. It's a lot for me to be answering your questions and to be getting everybody ready and out the door. I know that you're just excited and that you love talking with me, but when you do it in the form of questions, it's a little tiring and annoying. It's enough for me to do all I want to do, let alone have to describe every bit of it to this curious little kid. Now it's time for Step 2, which is to discuss the effects of the habit. Describing the effects of the habit would sound like this. When you ask a lot of questions, it's tempting for me to tune you out. I don't want to ignore your questions because I always want to give you answers to your important questions. But some of your questions are just too much, and that makes me feel like I want to ignore you, which makes me feel really sad. Also, if you were to do this with your friends or other people who aren't in our family, they might think that you're annoying or that you're trying to get attention. I want you to get attention for all the wonderful things that you do, not because you're asking too many questions. So now we're on to Step 3, which is to discuss the replacement behavior and its benefits. When you ask a child to stop a habit, it's often helpful to give them a replacement behavior. You can brainstorm these with your child, or if that's not appropriate, you can just let them know what the replacement behavior should be. Describe for them in detail how it will look and feel for them to do the replacement behavior, as well as how it will look and feel for everyone else. This is what it would sound like for Mackenzie's example. When you feel like you want to ask a question, I want you to press your pause button instead. And then I want you to ask yourself, how can I help myself right now? Helping yourself might mean looking around to see if you can answer your own question, or it might mean taking a cleansing breath and being okay with not knowing the answer just yet. Or you could write your question down in a question book instead of asking it out loud. Or it might mean saying a quiet affirmation to yourself. For this, saying to yourself, I am present, or the unknown holds many wonderful surprises, could be 2 really good affirmations for you to use. When you're present and you're ready for surprises, life is a lot more fun. How they work, how to create them, and how to use them, you can check out our ebook called The Longest Relationship, which is about fun and loving ways to connect siblings. At this point, you want to ask your child which replacement behaviors they think might work for them. If they have any ideas, you can chat those through as well. Decide together which behaviors they'll be working toward. Wrap up this step by discussing the benefits of the replacement behavior. Remember to focus on the benefits for them, although it's okay to mention the benefits for others too. It would sound like this. When you stop asking a lot of questions, people are going to listen to you more, both when you're talking and when you're asking questions. And you'll feel great knowing that everyone is having more fun when you're around. You'll also feel great for overcoming this habit, and you'll know that no matter what bad habits creep up, you'll be able to send them away your whole life through. And this is such an important skill for all of us. I'm so glad we're doing this. The stork said he couldn't take her back. Okay, so now that your child has a clear understanding of their habit, how it's not working for them, and the replacement behavior, it's time to implement the strategy. So you get everything that you need, whether it's an index card or a hole puncher or whatever it is that you need for your chosen strategy. Step 4 is to describe the modification strategy to your child in detail so that they know how it will work. Let them ask clarifying questions. So in Mackenzie's example, this is when I would have said, you are going to have an index card and a hole puncher. Every day you will be allowed to ask 20 questions, but only 20 questions. So you're going to need to choose really wisely about which questions you want to ask. Every time you ask a question, you're going to punch one hole into the card. Once you've used up all of your questions for the day, no matter what time it is, you won't be able to ask any more questions until the next day. And now it's time for step 5, which is to discuss the rewards and consequences for the possible outcomes. This means the positive and the negative, and you will be brainstorming the possible rewards for your child when they release their habit. If there is something that your child has been wanting, now might be the time to make that a possibility. I know one family that got their son a new puppy when he stopped biting his nails. The habit was strong and they were highly motivated to help him stop, so they went big on the reward. But rewards don't always need to be that big. You want to use the least possible reward that will motivate your child. Don't overdo it. Consider, how difficult will it be for my child to overcome the habit? And how important is it that they overcome it? And go from there. Here's a list of some possible rewards. Take your child to sushi or another favorite dinner out. Have friends over for a movie night with pizza, candy, and popcorn. Let your child stay up permanently later, such as 30 minutes or even an hour later if it is appropriate for your child's age. Give them a phone or get them a new phone. Allow another privilege your child wants, such as being able to do something you have previously said no to. Give your child a gift certificate to a particular store. Take them to get mani-pedis with a group of friends. Spend a day at the beach, lake, or another outdoor place your child likes. Go to an amusement park of their choosing, or any other reward that will engage your child. After you determine the reward, discuss with your child exactly what they will need to do and for how long they will need to do it before they get their reward. You don't want to get your child a new phone or a new puppy just to have them start their behavior again a week later. You're so going to have to give that back. While research shows that it typically only takes about 10 days to break a habit, it can take a month or more for a new habit to really set in. Depending on the age of your child and the behavior that they're eliminating, you may want to wait a month or two before they get their reward. Or if it's a newer or a lesser habit, a week or two may be sufficient. At this point, you will also want to discuss what will happen if your child chooses not to engage in modifying the behavior. Maybe your child is biting their nails and they just don't think it's a big deal. You can let them know that if they don't engage, they not only won't get the reward, but they will also suffer other negative consequences, such as losing belongings or activities that they enjoy. In this example, I would explain, biting your nails is not a habit that's going to work for you, socially or health-wise. Watching someone chew on their fingers isn't fun for the people around them, and it's something that you'll do unconsciously when you're stressed. It's not a behavior that most people want in a spouse, a friend, or an employee. It's also super dirty because your hands collect more germs throughout the day than any other part of your body, and you're putting that right in your mouth without even thinking about it. To us, you biting your nails would be the same as deciding to not brush your teeth anymore. It's unacceptable. Okay, so those are the steps of the pre-meeting, and now you're ready to implement a behavior-specific modification strategy with your child. In the next video, I will be presenting 4 more behavior-specific modification strategies that you can use. I'll also discuss Part B, which is how to follow up with your child once they have released the undesirable behavior. Thank you for being a premium member and for watching our video. If you like us, please tell your friends. Bye!